People often ask me, Jack, what is the end game of Park to Prem? When does the series end? And the answer to that is there isn't really a designated goal. We play until I reach a point where I feel like I've achieved everything I can and cemented a dynasty. That said, you can't really do those things without winning at least one Champions League. I feel like we've got a good chance this year. Today, it's the round of 16. We've been drawn against Inter Milan. Inter, in this universe, are managed by Erik ten Hag. For a number of years now, they have struggled. In fact, you can see here, the last 4 years, they've not won Serie A. But as things stand, they're top of the league, 7 points clear. And, well, they're quite a good team. It's not going to be an easy one today. As for ourselves, I don't want to say it too loudly, but I'll say it under my breath. We're top of the league, 11 points clear. Man City do have one game in hand. We're still unbeaten. We're still unbeaten. Yeah, could it happen? I've probably jinxed it now. I hope you guys had a super duper weekend. We're back here for Park to Prem Champions League knockout round, a trip to the San Siro. Don't go anywhere. We'll get straight into it after the intro. Yes, folks, how is it going? Welcome back to Park to Prem. Today is episode number 109, and today's focus is very much on the Champions League. It is the 4th of March in game. We played a lot of Football Manager since last episode. Of course, last episode we got 2 really emphatic wins, 4-0 against Bayern, 3-0 against Manchester United. Since then, 6 games played, couple of draws in the league here, couple of 3-3 draws as well. We've drawn 3-3 multiple times this year. In fact, we've drawn 3-3 4 times in the league. That is a really odd result to happen so often. But first and foremost, let's talk about one of the better results of the season so far. A 7-0 win at home against West Ham. Our unbeaten home run goes on. And with performances like this, I mean, we look unbeatable at the Ngoma Dome. You can see Bolton picking up man of the match. He was playing right back in this game that he was involved in. You can see we have rotated him around position-wise this year. I feel like the right wing-back spot in our team has been really, really productive this season. I'm not sure if that's down to the roaming playmaker alongside them, but when Bolton's played right back, he's looked great, and Alex is looking like a player of the season contender. 11 assists, all from open play for the right back. Now, as I did mention, we did get a couple of 3-3 draws during this recent run of games. This one, though, felt like a pretty good result. Everton are not a bad team in this universe by any means. They were 3-1 up in this game after 55 minutes. We came back from behind. We got 2 goals relatively quickly with Faye and Rojas getting them. Made some changes as soon as they scored in the 54th minute. You can see here Anderson, Faye, Mateus all coming on and having some pretty good impact in the game. Sadly, in the last 20 minutes, we couldn't get that 4th goal, but nevertheless, coming back from 2 goals behind, away from home, not a bad result. And neither was this one here. Taking on Chelsea, you can see Donald playing it forward to Lehman, Celik back to Misiak, lovely build-up play, lovely finish as well. Chelsea in this save game have been struggling a little bit. This game was a weird one. We dominated the game, and yet it was 1-0 for the vast majority of it. It wasn't until kind of the last 10 minutes the floodgates opened. Alex laying it inside to Neto, and Alex would go on to get another assist in this game, if I'm not mistaken. The right back played in by Bolton. Players were queuing up in the middle. He played it towards Neto. Faye ended up being the man who got the end of it. And yeah, 3-0 against Chelsea, great result. You might have noticed as well, Sam Faye is in some really tremendous form. You know, he's made 27 Premier League appearances, only 7 starts in those games. He's got 18 goal contributions. And whilst there's perhaps the argument to say, well, maybe you should start him more, I would point out everyone's kind of been performing for us. But additionally, with a player like Sam Faye, who just has such great physicals, such great off the ball and anticipation, against tired defenders, both physically and mentally tired defenders, kind of an hour into the game, throwing him on is such a great weapon to have, especially because he can play centre attacking mid or striker, and he's definitely helped swing the tide of a couple of games this year. I will say, if the 3-3 draw against Everton was a point earned, this one was 2 points dropped. Away from home against Leeds United, they scored in the last minute. We'll watch it. It was a free kick. Yeah, a free kick highlight began in the 96th minute. And I kind of just knew what was going to happen. It was smashed into the top corner. Dennis couldn't get there. I was annoyed, but I mean, we got a result. We got a point. Let's look at the positives. Following on from that, we had a proper ding-dong battle with a rotated team. 5-4 after extra time against West Ham. Weird game, this one. Bit of a classic. And after that, a 4-0 win against Nottingham Forest was great. Roger Rojas with a 14-minute perfect hat-trick, a left foot goal, a right foot goal, a header. I realise I'm talking about it. Let's watch it. This was a game where we won 4-0, and of course Rojas scored 3, but actually, besides Rojas, the attacking players weren't all that good. I suppose when one player gets a hat-trick, the pressure on everyone else does drop a little bit. Anyway, he scored a header there. Alex then making a run down the kind of near side, playing it to Rojas, who scored on his right foot. And as already mentioned, it was a perfect hat-trick. He would score just a couple of minutes later. First goal came with build-up down the right-hand side. This time, the ball down the left. Lehman playing inside. Roger Rojas with the goal. And if I'm not mistaken, that does take him to second in the goal-scoring charts. There was a fourth goal in this game. It was an own goal. Alex again, doing Alex things, playing it in. And I feel like he should be given the assist there, but he wasn't. Anyway, you've already seen this Premier League table in the intro, but just drink it in a little bit more. 30 games played, 8 games left of the year. I would love to go unbeaten. I can't stress that enough. In terms of the Premier League games we've got through the remainder of this month, between the 2 Champions League legs, we have Brighton who are bottom. We're not going to worry about that in today's episode. Newcastle away from home might be tricky. To be honest, I'm looking at Manchester City away, Liverpool at home, and maybe even the Tottenham game away as the most tricky games we've got left. I feel like if we can get through maybe the Man City and Liverpool games with 3 games left, I would back us to go unbeaten. I did mention the top goal scoring chart. You can see Haaland leading the way with 24. Roger Rojas tied on 20 with a few different players. Diop with 18. Sam Fay with 13 as well. Yeah, we have a lot of goal scorers in our ranks. Celik as well with 12 goals. I realise we've got 4 players here in the double figures. That's pretty bloody good. And if you were wondering about average ratings, here are the average ratings in our team. Erling Haaland leading the way in the Premier League, but behind him, Rojas, Diop, Celik, Lehman and Alex, the 2 fullbacks, like I mentioned, getting really, really good ratings, it feels like, within our system. Obviously, they have a lot to do in our team. I feel like Alex is a player who I big up a ton, but actually, give Lee Min some credit. We don't talk about Lee Min nearly enough. Signed for £14.5 million. Back when we were in the Championship, of course, we took him on loan with the option to buy him for that fee from Tottenham. I have a sneaking suspicion they regret selling him to me for £14 million. I'd like to thank them for their services. Now, I think in tomorrow's episode, we will also be covering a youth intake. There is an A-graded striker. It's been so long since we've had a really great player. Maybe we'll get one today or tomorrow this season. You know what I meant. There's no intake today unless it comes early, which sometimes it does. Not that I know anything about coming early. Anyway, the absolutely amazing news for us today is there's no injuries, there's no one missing. We can literally pick a full-strength team, and that is a very, very good position to find ourselves in. When you look at the starting 11, with the exception of Diop, who's actually not been playing that well lately, everyone else is putting in absolutely insane ratings in the last 5 games. There's part of me thinking, is it worth just dropping Diop to prove a point? I feel like that's a bit cruel, really. He's only played a few games where he's not been so good. I could bring in Sam Fay. I know there's some people going, yeah, do it, Sam Fay. I'm going to do it for those people. Sam Fay on for Diop. That might be controversial. I feel like sometimes in Football Manager, just dropping a great player like Diop when they've not played well, it kind of lights a fire up their bum. You know, makes them inspired to perform if you do sub them on. I'm hoping in this kind of game here, albeit away from home, we won't be relying on Diop to save us. I don't know if I'll ever get bored of the Champions League intros in Football Manager. I feel like especially when you've not been in the Champions League or European football from the beginning, it just gets you excited and it just feels really big time, doesn't it, when this happens? I wonder next year, obviously, FM25, they're moving game engines. How much of this will be updated and changed? I wonder what level they can kind of take it to, because if you told me we'd have this a few years ago, I probably would have laughed at you. Maybe that's more of a reflection of how slow Football Manager's been to develop in certain areas. But nevertheless, exciting times for the future, exciting times for now. Rugby Town, Inter, away from home. It feels like a big Champions League night. Of course, just a little reminder, not that you need it, given all the recent Champions League knockout games in real life, there's no away goals here. I feel like, that rule, it vanished a few years ago. Maybe it'll come back one day. But in this universe, it's not back. Sam Fay has had a very speculative shot from range. I was really hoping it was going to sail into the top corner. Seaman in goal for them. Their captain, the German goalkeeper, has saved it nicely. We do still have the set piece, though. Sadly, that is going to be cleared away. But first shot, first highlight in our favour. Inter looking to play the ball out from the back. Bastoni, by the way, still at centre-back for Inter Milan in this universe. He must be getting on a little bit to the point where I feel like with our pacey strikers, maybe we can just abuse the old man. Sam Fay got him behind. He was offside anyway, but he has fluffed his lines twice. so far this match. If you were wondering about Bastoni like I was, yeah, his legs have gone, haven't they? 10 acceleration, 11 pace. That should be exploitable. Okay, Celik, free kick. We've not scored that many free kicks. When Leeds scored theirs against me in the league, I was annoyed because we don't seem to score ours. Celik is meant to be good at free kicks. You wouldn't know it, would you? 40 minutes played of this first leg. Not exactly a classic. There's not exactly been a load going on. To be fair, we've limited Inter's chances. We now have a corner, which Lee Min is going to whip in towards Suari. Bolton was under it as well, sadly. Header goes just over. And in fact, that header was the last bit of action for a first half that has been completely dominated by us, and yet we've not yet got on the score sheet. I'm going to tell the players I'm far from happy. Sneddon is having a little cry in the corner. I'm going to tell him I have faith in him. Now he's calmed down. This might be controversial. I'm going to bring in Diop for Faye. I'm sorry, Faye missed a couple of chances in that game. I feel like Rojas, given his recent form, even if he's not performing today, you keep on with the expectation he's going to elevate his performance. Alex at right back is a little bit of a fitness concern for me here. I'm actually going to make another change early, and I'm going to take him off just because I'm a bit concerned about his fitness. I'm going to bring in Anderson to play as the roaming playmaker. Of course, next year I've already discussed the idea that Misiak might be the roaming playmaker. I think when you compare Anderson to him, it's kind of apparent that Misiak is just a far more complete player. But in terms of providing just a spark of creativity in a game like this, where maybe we're not creating enough in the way of clear-cut chances, Marky Boy here is a man who can make stuff happen. Okay, Inter Milan playing another goal kick out from the back. They are enjoying playing out from the back as a result of it and the way they give us the ball. It does mean that they're sat fairly deep, and as a result of that, there's not that space in behind to catch out Bastoni. I've got a plan for how I might change things just with that in mind, but we'll wait and see what happens with this chance first. Cruiser for them cuts inside. Taverso could shoot from range, could just run through the middle and put a dagger through our hearts. Minutes into this second half, they find a way through into Milan with their second shot on target of the game. I don't want to throw Ken Ichikawa under the bus here. Where is Ken? Ken? That is definitely Ken's channel that has just been absolutely abused there. They ran through the middle. It was just a parting of the seas of our defence. Mention the fact I might have a plan. I'll explain the plan here. So in terms of the heat map, you can see here our average position versus theirs. We're pressing them so high up the pitch that their defensive line never goes forward. Obviously, we know Bastoni's not the quickest. Pagani here is a faster player, but equally, I feel like we can look to exploit Bastoni at left centre-back. So the way I'm actually going to counter this is I'm going to move Misiak over and we're going to go a bit asymmetric. In terms of instructions when we have the ball, we're going to look to focus the play down the right-hand side. But, and this is kind of a bit crucial here, we're going to up the directness, and then in terms of outer possession, we're going to drop. Instead of pressing really, really high and just pinning their centre-backs back, I want to invite them forward a little bit more, try and actually just find some space in behind. Yeah, we don't need to press too often, but yeah, we're just basically looking to sit a little bit deeper, invite Inter to maybe attack, and then use the pace in behind. We know how quick Rojas is. We know how good Diop can be in the air as well. I feel like there's room to maybe make something happen here. Anyway, 5 minutes played since they scored. There is going to be a highlight. It is going to be build-up play down the right-hand side that falls to Diop, who scores immediately. It's not really come by virtue of our changes, but that decision to focus the play down the right is where the throw-in comes from there. And it's 1-1. And in a matter of minutes, we have turned around this game. Bolton throwing it inside to Rojas. He laid it back. From there, Celik finds the ball in the middle, plays it through to Diop. Lovely ball. I actually think that deflected in. It looked like a good finish from the other angle. From there, it's been revealed it hit a defender before it went into the bottom corner. Not going to concern ourselves with it, though. What I am going to concern myself with is the fact they've got a free kick. That has only gone a whisker over. I needed a man more from the players. Okay, we are going to make some changes here. Rojas is struggling quite a lot. Mateus, this is the kind of game that is made for Mateus, I think, with his blistering pace to come on and cause issues. Elsewhere, Misiak isn't having the best of games. I want to bring in another quick player in the attacking mid department. Neto is going to be the man we bring on to play kind of that right centre mid role. Elsewhere, and this is a little bit of a gamble, I'm going to move Bolton up the pitch as well. Bit of an unorthodox change, I will admit, but I think in terms of just trying to hammer home the right-hand side exploiting, just moving him forward is probably going to help with that just a little bit. Of course, we're telling the rest of the defensive line to sit deeper by moving that right wing back forward. It just means he's going to take up a slightly more advanced position versus the rest of the back line when we don't have the ball. Inter, corner, score. Set pieces, man. Set pieces. They are a kryptonite of us. Inter have been second best all day, and yet they're ahead on the scoreline. 23 minutes left, though. Loads of football here to be played. And, I mean, I'm looking at Diop and Sneddon there. Between them, someone has to challenge for the ball. Okay, we are quickly approaching the last 10 minutes here. We made some changes. They've not really worked out, truthfully, but it's not like we're being completely blown out in this game. If we take a draw or even a 1-goal deficit, I back us at home to make something happen. Celik shot there, blocked out for a corner. That was actually a pretty good chance. It doesn't look like one because of the way it's been blocked, but I don't think the keeper was getting there. We do now have a corner of our own. It's whipped in. The keeper misses it, but then the header misses the target. It's gone over. Leeman on the near side, throwing it down to Diop. Diop now could look to go right. Huari to Ichikawa, to Sneddon. Bolton, you can see that more advanced area he's now playing in. He picks up the ball, plays it inside. Diop can't quite get there, but it goes all the way across to Leeman. Options in the middle for him to pick out. Diop jumps over the ball, and, well, the ball is now with their goalkeeper. That was weird. I was anticipating a shot or a chance or something, and it just didn't happen. Instead, though, it's going to be Inter launching the ball forward. Leeman wins his header. Ichikawa now with it for us. Celik drifting into the wide area, has Leeman behind him, has Ken there too, who's going to whip the ball in towards Mateus. Free header. Back post, it's off target again. We've had chances in this game. I'll tell you what, if we knew how to keep headers down, we'd be winning this game, wouldn't we? I've got one more sub to make. In terms of who I'm going to change things up with, it's a great question that I'm asking myself. I think I'm actually going to take off Celik in this moment and bring in Dimitrov just for some fresh legs at centre attacking mid. Going to ask him to play as a shadow striker just to try and get in behind. In terms of in transition here, we're going to obviously now try and get the ball forward that little bit quicker. We're going to go more direct as well, less looking for the overlap as well. I feel like there's a common misconception. The look for overlap instruction isn't really instructing the wide players to overlap. Their roles and duties dictate that. It's more to do with the behaviour of players who have the ball in areas where they're awaiting players to overlap on the outside. It kind of encourages, say, centre mids to dwell on the ball a little bit more to allow players to get up, or wingers that have fullbacks behind them to hold the ball to allow them to go forward. We've given the ball away in a horrific area there. We've absolutely shot ourselves in the foot. It's 3-1 into Milan. 2-1 was bad. 3-1 is disastrous. We have to have a massive second leg performance here. Who gave away the ball? Who should I be throwing under the bus? Anderson. I'll tell you what, Anderson's on a 6.5 rating. We brought him on at half-time. He has done diddly squat. I feel like this is one of those games where you look at the match momentum chart and go, yeah, we've got pretty bloody unlucky there. It is just one of those games. Statistically, we were not the second best team. I back us at home to get a result. The reality is, though, we're going to have to win by a couple. That is a challenge. I'll tell you what, that unbeaten home record, that is going to be tested, isn't it, in this next match that we have coming up. Into profit from a wasteful Valley. Yeah, we were not good enough here. By the way, Valley is a nickname for Rugby Town. Rugby Town used to be called, I think, Valley, is it VS Rugby? I think Rugby Town's history of naming is a little bit confusing. Yeah, you can see here, they've been known as VS Rugby or the Valley. I think VAS is Valley Sports. I could be mistaken. Rugby Town fans, there's probably a few of you out there. Answers on a postcard, let me know. Either way, if you've ever wondered why we're referred to as the Valley in inbox items, now you know. Okay, well, I am going to be playing a rotated team against bottom of the table Brighton. I need to rest up the players. In 8 days' time, we take on Inter at home. There is a gauntlet laid for us. Let's see if we're up to the task. Okay, look, the Champions League might not be going to plan. The Premier League certainly is. Rotated team against Brighton. They're bottom of the table. They didn't have a shot on target in the game. Yeah, we were dominant in this game. 3-0 this game finished. And elsewhere in the Premier League, if that wasn't good enough, if we just go back, Manchester City lost at Everton. So Everton doing us a massive, massive solid. To be fair, they are in the fight, aren't they, for the kind of top 6 spots. As for ourselves, we're now 14 points clear of Man City. They have got a game in hand, but even if they win that, they'll still be 11 points behind us. I don't want to get carried away and celebrating too soon, but we're in a position now where the Premier League looks wrapped up and, well, I want to be like, we can focus on the Champions League. Of course, we might not be in the Champions League. We've got to focus up here. We're 3-1 down after the first leg. We need to come back. And in terms of how we plan on doing that, fantastic question. I'm glad you've asked. The plan is to go with the best 11. Who would have thunk it? Yeah, there are a couple players here that I look at their recent form and think, I'm not happy with you. And I suppose the logical thing here is actually just to criticise them all really quickly and hope that that helps them step up. Huari's not been good enough. Misiak's also been really poor lately. I mean, Celik's on a 6.9. I feel like by Celik standards, that's poor. If I criticise him, I was worried he was going to kick up a fuss. No, he agrees. Right, look, keep working hard. I believe in you, Aaron. You're the Ballon d'Or winner. You've had your worst run of games ever, which isn't really saying a lot because they've still been quite good. But by his own standards, not a 7.0 rating in his last 5 is shocking. Also, Diop back in the team today. Yeah, he's got 5 goals in the Champions League for us. I feel like he was missing a little bit. I feel like I maybe overcooked in the last game, tinkering some things around. Then again, when you actually consider the goals that we conceded, such as the corner, I don't necessarily feel like you can pin that on the changes that we made. In spite of that, though, we have a task at hand to try and do. We've got to come back here. We're at home, though. We have made this stadium a fortress. We need a glorious European night. 2 goals down. We have goals in us, though. You know, if there's a team that I've ever had in Football Manager that I think can overturn a goal deficit, it's probably this team. We're a top-heavy team. We score a lot. We like to work teams hard. Inter did show some good defensive solidity last time out. We need to try and score early, I think, to ease the nerves. Okay, 15 minutes played in this game. They're actually having a lot more of the ball this game than they did in the previous one. Either team yet to have a shot on target, or rather I should say, neither team yet to have a shot on target. Half an hour played here. Nothing is happening. I'm going to go for the shout of demand more and try and fire up the players here. If there was a game where I needed highlights, this was it. We're currently 5 minutes away from a highlightless first half. I mean, what do you say here? It's 0-0. Nothing's happened. I'm going to pump my fists here. We can still win this. Keep the hard work going. I'm going to tell the players I believe in them as well. Lads, look, I need you to turn it around. I believe in you. We need a magical European night. Yeah, I'm looking at you too, Celik, on your 6.4. Sort it out. I was thinking about making some subs. I'm going to hold off for the first 15 minutes of this half. Maybe 10 minutes, give and take, depending on what happens here. Thus far, not a great deal happening. We did have a few more chances towards the end of the first half, but they didn't amount to anything, and this half has started more the same. I've got to change things up here, haven't I? In terms of our instructions, we're going to focus the play in the wide areas, a little less dribbling at opponents. In terms of in transition, get it to the flanks that little bit more. And when it comes to roles, I am going to change things up here. Ichikawa is going to play as a centre mid on defend. We're going to push him forward just a little bit. Couple of players in danger of losing their discipline. Alex, I'm going to keep on the pitch. Lee Min, I'm going to take off and bring in NDIA. Elsewhere, Celik's on a 6.3. I can't believe I'm doing this. He's being subbed off. Sam Fay, on you come. And now Misiak, off you come. He's just got injured. I was in my head, I was thinking, do I want to take off Celik or do I want to take off Misiak? And in my head, I thought, you know what? Celik's the right decision. Might regret that now because Misiak is injured. Dimitrov, I need a big performance from you, my friend. Or do I bring in Dimitrov or do I bring in Neto? Neto's not really learnt to play centre attacking mid as quickly as I was hoping. If we compare him with Dimitrov, Neto's just better, isn't he? I'm sorry, Dimitrov. Put your bib back on, son. Neto is going to come on here. Bolton's in danger of being booked. There's a small part of me that wants to take off Bolton. I'm not going to because I just think he's got that magical moment in him. Okay, we've got a little more aggressive, a little more attacking, and there's another injury. Diop's now injured. Are they just killing my players? I mean, who do we bring on here? We could bring in Vasquez or Mateus or Dimitrov. I think it's got to be Mateus, hasn't it? I mean, that is a super annoying injury to pick up. Mateus, he had that headed opportunity, didn't he? That he headed over in the first leg. I need him to be more clinical here. I'm going to shout demand more too. 2 very, very key players for us injured. Absolutely sucks. There's 20 minutes left here. We need magic. I'm going to move both wing-backs up the pitch. I feel like I've got to do something like this at a certain point, and I feel like that point is here and now. I'm going to ask the players just to try and stretch the play a little bit wider. In transition, distribute it quickly as well. I've got one more sub if I want to make it. Rojas has been poor today. Oh, do I want to take off Rojas? I don't think I do. I'm going to save the sub. There's still 20 minutes left. We could get another injury. I was hoping we were going to show some fight or some spirit or something. This leg has just been flat. Nothing is happening in it. In spite of our best efforts, we've created a ton. We just can't find a way through. There's 5 minutes. I need a goal. I mean, what more do I change here? Bolton, centre mid on attack through the middle. Ichikawa deep line playmaker on support, in possession, no longer focusing it down the wings. Let's get more direct, hit it into space, hit early crosses, and make those crosses, I was going to say make those crosses low. No, mix them up, lads. Do you ever have those games in Football Manager where you feel like no matter what you change, just nothing really seems to be making anything happen? This is one of those games at the worst possible moment. It's the 86th minute. We finally have a highlight. NDIA on the overlap, whipping it in. Rojas is under it. It's headed away and then cleared away further. Of course, we are now throwing men so far up the pitch, we're leaving ourselves open. We need 2 goals in the last 3 minutes to take it to added time. Neto in the wide area to Ichikawa. He shoots. He scores. Go get the ball out of the back of the net, Ken. We need another. Nice build-up play here. Neto, really, really nice run as well. I'm never really sure about Neto's haircut. Can you see that in 3D? Almost looks like he's got like an inverted colour scheme of a classic football on his head with kind of white spots. Yeah, I don't get it. Either way, that is the time to make an observation like that. There's a kickoff highlight. Are we about to turn things around here very quickly? Neto has got the ball. He's been making a lot of magic happen. Huari, big header there. Of course, it is 3-2. Conceding now, disastrous. A goal now, we'd be going to extra time. NDIA whips in. Rojas is under it. Falls to Alex. The right back shoots. It's blocked away. And knowing how Football Manager works, I fear that was the highlight. Luis Fernando now trying to launch a counter-attack for Inter. Our wing-backs on either side getting super high up the pitch, leaving space in behind. Fernando to Xavi Simons. And from one end of the pitch to the other, like a dagger through my heart, Inter reinstate their 2-goal lead on aggregate. Luis Fernando here with a really, really long run. Xavi Simons just drops off, stabs it in on his right foot, and Ifoni can't get there. Champions League. The Champions League curse. Is it real? 5 minutes of added time. I mean, we don't deserve to win this. Over the 2 legs, we maybe were the better team, but Football Manager is a cruel, weird game, and today's episode has been cruel and weird. And to be frank with you, I just feel sad. Defeated in the round of 16, Diop out for 3 to 4 weeks, Misiak out for 2 to 3 weeks. 2 pretty big injuries to first team players. I suppose, good news, we've got less games to worry about now, so that's good, I guess. I mean, we are still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Premier League kind of title fight. I say fight. It's not really a fight. We're just in cruise control, aren't we? But there's still a little bit left to achieve to end this year. But I was really hoping we could maintain a Champions League push. Now, I did already mention in terms of the unbeaten season, the games against Man City and Liverpool feel like they are going to be the last 2 big tests for us. We are in the FA Cup quarter-final. I'm not going to worry about that against Spurs simply because we've already won the FA Cup. It's not quite as sexy, but there is a chance the next episode we can secure the Premier League title, and there's also a chance we can be maintaining our unbeaten season. And if we maintain it through next episode, I don't want to say it too loudly, I think it's done. I feel like sometimes in Football Manager you just get a bit unlucky. Is it bad to just disregard a loss like the one today as a bit of bad luck? A couple of injuries at unfortunate moments. Maybe that last little bit of quality lacking. Maybe I should have signed Alexi on the buy now option in January for 60 million. Although with this guy's addition, surely we have a team capable of winning the Champions League next year. I feel like our team was capable of winning it this year, though. I'll be honest, I feel a little bit shell-shocked by what I've just seen. What a weird couple of games. Certainly not how I imagined it was going to go when I waited all weekend for this. Probably not how you imagined it was going to go either. We need to step things up tomorrow. The Premier League is our full focus. I want to be hoisting a trophy aloft. I suppose the good news for transfer special fans, the transfer specials will be coming sooner. There's way less matches to care about all of a sudden. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like. I'll see you on the next one. It's me, Jack. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.